My wife confessed that the girly trip got a little too crazy. Now she's begging me for forgiveness and my mom thinks I should take her back. I, 39M, and my wife, 33F, have been together for 13 years. She recently went away on a girls' trip, and at the time I was not worried at all. I have never had a reason to distrust her, as she has never done anything to give me cause for concern, nor was her trip far away at all. She was going to a resort half an hour away for God's sake. She went with her sister and a few other girls. She called me up this morning, and I didn't expect anything other than her checking in. She's only been away one night of a 3-night trip. When I answered she was crying, and incoherent. When I finally calmed her down she told me she had slept with someone else the night before. Supposedly, she met a guy, who she approached, they flirted a little, and danced together, and she thought that was as far as it would go, but he supposedly just charmed her into a kiss, which turned to sloppier kissing, which turned to her asking him to walk her back to her hotel room, which turned into her inviting him inside and then going at it with each other. She says nothing was amiss. He wasn't pushy, or weird, and they actually did the deed multiple times, because she would say they needed to stop, and he would stop immediately, but then after a few minutes she'd want him to carry on and he would. This supposedly went on for 3 hours and she eventually said stop for good and asked him to leave, and he did. The guy is 10 years younger than her, and she said she lied and told him she was going through a divorce. She says she doesn't know what came over her, and she just wanted to see if she still had it, but ended up getting carried away. 14 years, married for 10, and we have a 7-year-old daughter, all ruined within the span of 3 hours. I want to leave her, but she's begging me not to, going as far as offering marriage counseling, never going out again, never drinking again, and so on. I've always been a one-chance sort of guy. I just told her to go screw herself and have been ignoring her since our phone call this morning. Now her friends and sister are calling me too. They apparently had no idea she'd even gone back to the room with him. They saw them talking but thought nothing of it. I just want them all to leave me alone. I told my mom about it all and she said I should think of my family, and that my wife seems genuinely remorseful and didn't try to hide anything, and came clean straight away. My mom continued with saying, it's not like she had an affair, and that if this is as bad as it is, then it's the best case scenario. After that conversation I feel like I'm insane. Am I wrong for not even considering forgiving her? Update. So my wife came home tonight after giving me the day to cool off. I asked to see the guy. I don't know why, maybe I'm a sucker for punishment. And of course he looks like a superhero. For the record, my wife is beautiful. Like perfect teeth and works out regularly. I am not ugly, but I am just a typical bland guy. I always felt so lucky to be with her. I asked her to lay out what happened to me in more detail. I wanted to catch any lies or changes in the story to test her consistency. She basically says she was at the bar and the guy was standing next to her. They made eye contact at some point and she said to him, "Where did you come from?" He asked what she meant and she said, "You're the first handsome man I've seen here." And that's how the conversation got started. As for her telling him she was divorcing, that happened when he glanced down, noticed her ring, and asked her about it. Apparently once she said that to him, he went on to say, "Not like I give a either way." What a gentleman. I asked if she thinks he could have slipped her anything, and she says it's impossible, because they only did shots together. I asked if she took anything, and she admitted to her friends. For context, the resort is basically a holiday resort, usually for families, but they sometimes host adult exclusive weekends where it's a pretty big party place. It's cheap, and grimy, and can be a lot of fun. People dress up, there are DJs, live music, multiple venues and late night entertainment. As for people saying she got caught by her friends, she actually didn't. She disappeared with the guy and went back to her room with him. She texted her friends that she was tired and wanted to go to sleep, and as they are on the resort and the hotel is like a 3-minute walk, they all just said to text when she was safe in her room. She was sharing a room with her sister, but her sister was in their other friend's room carrying on the party because they thought she was sleeping. My wife told the guy to leave at around 6 a.m. because she thought her sister might be coming back soon, as that's when the party usually winds down. I asked her how many times she had done the deed with the guy, and she said 4 or 5, lasting between 5 to 10 minutes each time. She says that she kept thinking it was wrong, but then would think it's too late now anyway, so might as well carry on, and basically go through a loop of that. I asked her why she felt the need to see if she still had it, and she said that since she hit 30 years old, she's been self-conscious of her aging. That when she spots a new wrinkle or something it drives her to tears. She said that chatting to the guy made her feel young again, and she latched onto that. Apparently the guy was there with a girl, who my wife said looked like a younger version of herself, and the guy pointed her out to my wife and said that girl over there watching us has a crush on me and laughed about it. After he had been talking to my wife for like 30 minutes, the girl he was with had enough, walked over and kicked the table, spilling the guy's drink and then stormed off. She says that the guy picking her over a younger woman drove her ego crazy, and that was when she decided to kiss him. I asked her why she even told me the truth, and she said that when she woke up, she saw I'd sent a selfie of me and our daughter eating pizza together, and it sent her into a nervous breakdown. That she was wailing and sobbing so loud it woke up her sister, and that's when she confessed. Her sister told her she was insane for what she did and wasn't very comforting to her, and then left the room mad at her, which made it worse, and that's when she called me. I have asked her to leave the house for a few days, and she is staying at her mother's house while I decide what I want to do. She begged me not to make her leave, but eventually I got her out after I said that it was the least she could do after blowing up our entire lives over wrinkles making her sad. As for my mother, she still thinks I should forgive her. For context, my dad passed away about a year ago, and my wife has really been a rock for my mom. I can't see my mom as much as I would like, due to my work, but my wife is a self-employed lash and nail tech and has a lot of free time, which she uses to spend with my mom, to keep her company, do her hair, and have girly days to try and make sure she doesn't get lonely. I don't think my mom advocates for cheaters, as she is very angry at my wife, but she still loves her and she just wants everything to be okay. My daughter has no idea what is happening. She was already asleep when my wife came and went again. She will just think mommy is still on holiday. I still have no idea what I'm going to do.